Hi, this is KJ7OKW, Dead Ham Walking. I'm going to go to the bottom of a 2,000-foot deep lake and activate a POTA. You want to go? Hope you can hold your breath. Well, this is the park I talked about. This is Ice Age Floods National Geologic Trail. It's park number K-3424. And it actually encompasses 4 different states: Idaho, Montana, Oregon, and Washington. So when you look at the map, like is the case in a lot of these multi-state parks, this isn't the only place you can activate this park. And if I open it up here, it's just around Coulee City. We back out and I'll show you how far this park goes. This park starts about here in Missoula, encompasses all this area all the way to the ocean. And it's a park that's been around for about 9 years. I'll get to that in a minute. You can see it's been activated many times. It's got about 1,000 QSOs associated with it. And that's not because everybody's flocking to Coulee City to do this park. There's some 3,000 miles of trail on this park. So this is a park you can use in a lot of areas. I would highly recommend, if you activate this park, not to use these coordinates. You're going to probably be somewhere else. Make sure you get your grid square and your longitude, latitude, and county correct when you activate this park. The Ice Age Floods National Geologic Trail is essentially a network of marked touring routes extending across parts of Montana, Idaho, Washington, and Oregon, with several special interpretive centers located across the region. It was designated as the first National Geologic Trail in the United States in 2009. At the end of the last ice age, 18,000 to 15,000 years ago, an ice dam in northern Idaho created Glacial Lake Missoula, stretching 3,000 square miles around Missoula, Montana, and containing 480 cubic miles of water. The dam burst and released floodwaters across Washington down the Columbia River into Oregon before reaching the Pacific Ocean. The periodic rupturing of the ice dam resulted in the Missoula floods, cataclysmic floods that swept across Idaho and eastern Washington and then down the Columbia River Gorge approximately 40 times during a 2,000-year period. The flood front swept in a wave across Idaho and Washington at speeds approaching 62 miles an hour, and Glacial Lake Missoula drained in periods as short as 2 days. If you do any amount of hiking around Missoula and North Montana, you'll occasionally on the trail come across these marker stones that mark the high water mark of Lake Missoula some 15,000 years ago. And what's really interesting is to stand next to one of these rocks and look out over your terrain and realize at one point in time you were standing on the lakefront and everything below you was underwater. So going back to the trail map here, you can see it's quite an extensive trail. The yellow line is the main trail. It's all on paved roads. And the red lines are little offshoot loops that highlight various parts of the geologic process. So if you're anywhere on one of these yellow or red roads, you're in the park. And I'm sure, I haven't researched this, but there are other parks in the Parks on the Air program that overlap on these roads. And so if you do your homework, you can probably get 2 parks in one. Here's another view of the park with points of interest along the way overlaid over Google Earth. And you can see there are just so many places you can go to be at this park and activate it that you shouldn't have any trouble finding something near you if you live up in this area. I am going to show you another map over where I live and show you where I actually went to activate this park. Well, here's a close-up of that same map centered over where I live and where I activated this park. As you can see down here at the bottom, this is Missoula. We got the road coming up here, going up the 90 to St. Regis. I live in Plains right here. So I activated this on this red line, this Highway 28 just north of Hot Springs, because I had this big view of this valley south of me, and I could get my radio signal up over those hills. A lot of these roads on this trail are in canyons going up the interstate with steep hills on either side of you. Not a really good place to put an antenna, but I'm sure there's lots of places on the entire trail system where you're wide open. So I went up here to activate. Technically in the bottom of what used to be a huge lake, prehistoric Missoula Lake. It is now an official POTA site, Ice Age Floods National Geographic Trail. And we're going to activate this. This lake used to be at the 4,600 foot level, and we're standing at 2,500 feet. So I'm really under the water, but it should be a good activation. Anytime. Okay, I'm all set up. It's a little cold outside, so we're going to do this inside the truck. I've got my antenna, as you just saw. I got my counterpoise going out the side of the window, and let's see what we can do to activate this park. Well, the first thing I always do is get my QTH. This trail system is so expansive, you want to make sure you accurately record your location. So I got the grid square, longitude and latitude with this handy app which I've highlighted in a previous video, and we're ready to go. Here's my setup for this activation. I got my logbook, paper logbook. I always use paper, transfer it later. Ready to take down the contacts. Got my Elecraft KX3 off to the side. I got the antenna coming in off the left side through the back window of the truck. The orange wire there, and then my counterpoise going off outside the window of the back seat for the ground/radial. And Bioenno battery, which has never failed me. So we're ready to go. Well, if you're waiting to see me talk to people on SSB and get a video recording of those contacts, I hate to disappoint you. Being new at this video thing, I had some technical difficulties and I don't have that footage. However, I'm going to show you my logbook. I'll tell you the story of how it went. It went quite well. I got a total of 32 contacts, so many that I can't get them all on the screen here. You can't see my last one. As I usually do when I do a park, is I try to chase some soda peaks first. So if you look way down here in the lower left, I chased a peak, my first one. I chased somebody in California. And then I went after some park-to-parks, and I caught 3 of them right off the bat, and had a good contact there. And way at the end of the day, I got 3 more summits on the air peaks. So I chased some peaks, got some points for my SOTA program. These 7 contacts also count for parks on the air. So again, after trying to chase some park-to-parks, I parked myself on 13.346. and created a pileup of my own. I had all these contacts way up to here, 7, a good 20 plus contacts, and they were, again, coming pretty fast. 1951, 52, 53, 54, 56, 56, so it was fast and furious until we got up to here. I decided to try 40 meters, caught a few people there, and in all, it was a really, really good activation. I got all 32 contacts in less than an hour. So let's see how we did with the 32 contacts I got. How far did I get? I got a couple at the 2,000 mile mark. We got a contact here in Vermont, which was actually my first contact ever in Vermont, so I'm hoping this will help with my Worked All States on the QRZ.com awards program. I also got someone in Florida, and there's another one that's close, 1,942 miles in Pennsylvania. So I got all the way over to the East Coast. I was very happy with that because I'm only running 15 watts, as you should all know by now. And I could have stayed later. I was getting a little late and a little cold. I think it was a good idea to go out to the big valley there, which was still technically in the park. So I apologize for not having the video for the actual contacts and QSOs, which is one of the reasons I do these. But I also wanted to highlight the fact that this park exists. I only found out about this park about a year ago, and I wanted to highlight it in my video because it's so large and covers so much area that you can activate this park in all sorts of areas, which should also coincide with being able to activate a second or a third park and get a twofer or a threefer. So keep this park in mind if you're ever up at the Pacific Northwest, because if you're going to activate a POTA up in our area of the woods, there's a good chance you might be able to get this park on it as well. Okay, here is the visual representation of how I did. I didn't realize my one Canadian contact was way up there near Fairbanks, but that was great. And you can see how over here I've got my East Coast. Here's my furthest one in Vermont. Did quite well on the West Coast. If you're interested in making these kind of maps, I just discovered this on someone else's video. This is qsomap.org. You sign on and upload your ADI file, your ADIF file, and they'll make one of these for you. So this is how I did. I was very happy. And if you like my videos, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. I have fun doing them. I hope they're informative. I hope I entertain you a bit. And we'll throw a little radio in now and then too. So thanks so much. I appreciate it.